So growing up, I wasn't exactly taught how to build any kind of habit. I wasn't taught to do like some of the simplest, most usual things, like brushing my teeth. I wasn't taught to do these basic habits that enabled me to actually go about my life. And so as I grew up and I wanted to build more habits and I wanted to self improve, there was a lot of issues that I faced with building habits because it wasn't this refined thing to me that I could just look at a habit and be like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this. And I'd actually know how to just start. And so I was the type of guy that wouldn't exactly like be brushing his teeth. He wouldn't be doing shit. He like it was just chaos. Like the only thing I knew how to do was the thing that would get me some dopamine, which is the instant gratification habits. Besides that, all like the bad habits, if there wasn't any dopamine involved, I wouldn't do none of those habits. And I was very dopamine driven person. What ended up really happening to me was I was basically a guy that didn't even know how to build habits. And I literally like at age 15, I basically was the guy who had a whole bunch of fucking addictions, know nothing, like no knowledge about how to build habits, and it was chaos for me because I didn't know how to break none of those addictions. And after learning about this, I eventually managed to actually start forming some habits. And even though I did a lot of mistakes, which I will explain in this video, I I learned my good lesson there and I started evolving more and more. And eventually, I basically have the ability to form habits. And so these days, I'm not the type of guy that struggles to check off his old habit tracker. I'm I'm the type of guy that would check his habit tracker most days of the week, all fully, and that's really only because of how much time I spent in this field. And so I'm going to be distilling everything I learned about habit forming in this video, and specifically some key habits that will really help you, that have certainly helped me. See, in our age, we aren't really taught much. In school, people will tell you school teaches you everything you need to know, and that, yeah, like we should all be going to school and university and these types of things. When in reality, all of these things are complete bullshit. School never taught me how to form habits. I ended up having to literally like have cavities and someone literally digging up my whole fucking teeth. I I was basically suffering my entire life trying to think of ways to just form habits and having to learn all this stuff on my own. I wasn't really just sat there learning these things. And guess what? I learned it for completely free, just like you're learning from this video. And it's just a shame that literally like you have to pay for school, and it's like it doesn't even teach you like things that you actually require for life. It's like, sure, you could tell me like we need fucking mathematics and stuff like that. Yeah, fine, fine, right. But it's like, who needs to fucking know like fucking plant cells? Like, I mean, sure, like if you want to be like a doctor or whatever, sure, like you might be interested in whatever. But it's like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, I don't want to be learning about plant cells. I want to be learning about functional things that I can use in my day to day life, like just forming habits. Like, imagine if I'd learned about this like 10 years earlier, I probably would be doing these protocols that will enable me to build habits. And hey, I'd probably be having a lot more habits and a lot capacity for habits. And so, really, it's like our world is just fucked up when you think about it. It's like nobody tells you what are like the best habits that you can get into. Everybody's just trying to fucking like scam you and get some kind of way off of you. And all these fucking governments just trying to claim money from people as much as possible. Just literally like for fucking education for their children. And even worse, people who will start telling you about how good university is. They'll start telling you, oh yeah, like you develop into a different person. It's like, oh yeah, like social communication, whatever, bro. Like you can be getting a whole lot better social communication. You don't need to go to university in order to actually be getting the social communication. And the education, unless you want to be a doctor or some kind of career that requires a degree, you don't need that stuff. Like, That's the simple truth. Everyone around you will be telling you the exact opposite. Everyone around you will try to push you to go towards these things because they think that's the safe route. They've been brainwashed to think that's the safe route. And I think that's just a sad, sad thing that we have to live through. To be able to see everyone around us being just brainwashed until they see us succeed at what we actually want and love to do. And that's what leads us to have a better living. So that's why I'm really making this full guide. It's just honestly because no one tells you like the best habits. No one tries habits in order to tell you the best habits. Everyone around you, they're just like, oh yeah, like let me just fucking record some random video, entertainment style Mr. Beast shit. It's like, bro, have a fucking life, man. Like, people need much more than just entertainment. These days, it's like you've got entertainment in all ways. I can open the TV right now. I'd find some weird ass cartoon that's probably more dopaminergic than any of those videos. But it's like, truth be told, people just care about themselves. And we end up just having to think that people care about us when we're consuming those inputs in just all the time. So really, like, the reason I'd be making a full guide like this is to just tell you, okay, like, how do you actually form a habit? Or at least lead you to good sources that will teach you these things. And really, it's just as simple as having a key foundation to all this stuff, having some habits in mind, and certainly, like, key stuff that you would want to be getting into. And of course, I'm going to be distilling onto you a mindset that I didn't really know about habits. I had to learn this through like pain and suffering. But truth be told, it's like when I learned this, I understood everything that, like, why I wasn't able to form habits, why I just couldn't understand, why I couldn't check off on my habit tracker. And I'm going to be distilling all of that in today's video. So before we really jump into the video, I kind of just want to give you just the mindset I needed so long. You see, I believe that if you have the right mindset, you can basically get on with anything. And so when I'm learning anything new, I'd love to just see all the mindsets. I'd love to just literally learn all that stuff. And to be honest, for habits, there's only really one mindset that really changed my perception on habits. Of course, like we know the basics of, okay, like you have to be consistent, but this mindset specifically really changed my perception on, okay, like how, like what are habits? How do you actually like choose habits? Like everything about habits. And I'm going to be just spitting it out right now. You need to be organizing everything in your life, from tasks to projects to areas and resources, all the way to actual just habits, to all be aligned towards your season. You see, for a long time, I basically did habits for the sake of doing habits. I didn't have a direction of why I was doing these habits. If I just simply told you that having some kind of direction, having a season, something that you're prioritizing above all else right now, if you choose a season and you align your habits to it, you're actually much more likely to do those habits. First, because you'll have much less habits to be doing. And second, because you will simply be able to do those habits because now you know how important that thing is for you because you've set some kind of direction. And so I like to call this the seasons of life. And so what season are you on? What season of life are you on? What is your arc right now? What arc are you going through? Are you going through the like make money online arc, like just financial freedom, business, entrepreneurship? Or is it more so about health? You're really optimizing for health. You're trying to find all these, like, you're learning about health. You're learning about all these weird things about health. And you're just learning about protocols for health. Or is it more so relationships, and you're trying to optimize for having habits about relationships and going out and just doing these things? Or is it just more so about having really spiritual stuff and more so focusing on, you know, prayer and just actually like reading books that are more so related to religion and spirituality? And so you need to be choosing your own season. What is the direction you want to improve the most in your life right now? It can't be all of them. You can't tell me success just, oh yeah, I just want to be successful, because success simply has different elements. You've got multiple elements to success. And really, it's like, you've got to understand that. I mean, I've talked a lot about this on the channel, but there's like the energy diagram. It's like this, imagine like, it's basically just this circle, and this is the energy thing that you have. Now imagine if I had basically like it having a whole lot of arrows all over the place. Well, I have a lot of arrows. I'm focusing on different things, but it's much more slower of a process. Like, you're not really making as much like actual value, and you're not actually making much progress on this energy diagram, because you're not like, you have way too much things to focus on. Now, if I just focused on one thing and I placed all those arrows on top of each other to actually just make this thing, well, I've got a much longer, much more progressed arrow that's going to grow much faster now, because I'm only focusing on one thing. Now, of course, a one-dimensional life isn't exactly great. We've got to be having four, more so like a four-dimensional life. But of course, dimensions are completely different on this. It's more so, what is the priority? Because we know for a fact that if you just maintain three of those like this, and then the fourth was like this, then that would be progress on this one. And of course, these ones are just maintained. They're just sat there waiting till they each just start growing. And that's really how you get the success. You focus on one thing at a time and you actually make the progress. And so really, like, if you just want me to give you another example that's more understandable, I can just simply tell you this. If I decided to give you 5 jobs right now, 5 jobs, like all just not full-time, but it's like, yeah, like you have like 5 jobs you have to attend. Well, you wouldn't be sleeping the night. You wouldn't be doing shit. It's like, why is that? Because you have way too much to focus on. And so it's like, your whole life is just fucked up. You're literally like chasing from one place to the next, and it's just chaos. Now imagine if I just told you, okay, scratch the 5, I'm just going to be giving you one job. You're going to be much more progressed at that job, because you only have one job to focus on as opposed to 5. It's kind of the exact same thing, just with areas, you know? And so this is a key thing to place in your mind, and to really just try to dig into. Like, you can start journaling about this. Just grab a notebook and just start writing down, okay, like, what season am I on? And just literally start like writing down your answers. Okay, like, I mean, what season could I be on? Okay, well, I could be like grinding for money, because I'm not exactly financially free. You know, like, I thankfully I can get whatever I want, but it's like, I really want to be financially free. And so, okay, sweet, that's one thing. Okay, like, I could also be focusing on relationships, because right now I don't exactly like have the best relationships. I could probably can like improve and stuff. And so, okay, I could be focusing on relationships. Oh, I could also be focusing on religion, because I'm not exactly like the most religious person. I certainly could be. And so I'm really into that, and I want to improve. Okay, like, and you just start digging, and then eventually you'll just keep asking questions again and again and again, till you find, okay, like, this is my season. I'm just sure of it. And really, that's what we want to get you at. We want to get you to find your direction. And so you'll have a mindset of, okay, this is my season. And that's how I'll be directing everything, from tasks to projects to all my areas, canceling out ones I don't really like, just because I want to focus on the main priority, my season. And of course, aligning your habits to that. Now, let's just get into the fundamentals. So, habits are quite hard things to do. You see, a habit is really just you doing a task over and over again. It could like just be a one time, like 1 week time thing. It could also be every single day. It could also be 5 days a week, like on weekdays. And so really, a habit is simply something that has to be done over and over to be getting the good stuff out of it, or at least to be able to maintain the good benefit of it over days. And so basically, that's what a habit is. But unfortunately, as humans, especially as like modern humans today, we don't exactly, we're living quite random lives. You see, we have a lot of work to do all over the place. We have a lot of things to encounter, and even though we have a lot of time, we still cope around and say, I don't got time, I don't got that, I don't got this. And yeah, if only I had like 1 hour extra a day, you'd probably still waste it, bro. And so really, like, people who will tell you habits, like, oh yeah, like I wish I had enough time to really like do my habits and stuff. They're just coping because they do have time for their habits. They're just coping around. They're scrolling like 1 hour on Instagram. They're playing 1 hour of video games, and so no wonder. It's really just wasting time, wasting time, wasting time again and again and again. And that's what causes people to not have enough time in their day. And so, of course, getting control of their time, that's definitely something that they should be into. But I'm making this guide on habits. Of course, you definitely should be looking into the other things about self-improvement. Certainly, I've got a lot of whole guides that will guide you through that. But the main focus here is habits. And so going back to habits, really, is just habits are a really hard thing to do because you've got to be doing this thing over and over and over again. It gets quite boring very quickly, and there's not really much spice on it. It's just do this task every single day. And so, yeah, the first time you do it, it's pretty fucking cool. You feel all hyped. Second time, you feel a bit hyped, less hyped though. And then eventually, you start doing it for the next week and you're not really feeling hyped at all. And eventually, you just quit because you don't know what, like, it just doesn't feel motivating. And most people, when they, like, realize that they haven't done it in a week, the habit, they just don't do it at all. They're like, oh, I didn't do it yesterday, so it's like, it's fine. Oh yeah, like it's fine. Like I didn't do it yesterday, and hey, I'll tell you this. To this day, I still fucking cope around with this excuse because it's just simply like just the easiest one to pull out. Like, oh yeah, I didn't do it yesterday, so it's fine. Oh yeah, like yeah, like it's fine. And really, it's like when you have some understanding of your priorities and you have some direction and see like a season to follow, you actually kind of really push into it. So you like it's almost like you have two like sides of your brain arguing, and that really pushes you to actually like start to want to do these habits. But the main key point here, the main fundamental is habits are really hard to build, but even harder to maintain because you can do it today and tomorrow, but it's very hard to maintain it for the rest of your life. Our second fundamental is habits require at least 21 days of just doing it consistently. So basically it's almost like doing the habit 21 days in a row. That's kind of like the just the time period it takes for most people to actually build a habit. And so we don't really want to be tracking this. Like some weirdos gonna install like a habit tracker and just start tracking their weird shit. And of course that's like really good. But honestly, streaks, like, I mean, this is kind of a side rant, but it's like streaks are just bullshit, bro. Don't fucking track your streak. Don't track none of that bullshit. Don't like oh yeah, I'm on day 109 on NoFap. It's like, bro, just don't track days. It's like you're making it almost like it's not normal life. Like our ancestors, they didn't fap and they didn't count days, and so it's like why like should you count days? It's like it's stupid. It's almost like you're in jail. You're like it's almost like you're just trying to not launch on this thing. It's like eventually you're gonna fail because you're counting days. Like you're giving it way too much attention. It's like, oh yeah, today is day 100. It's like, it's just it doesn't make any sense. And so when you're doing habits, you don't really want to be counting days. Okay, I'm on like day streak 21. Oh no, I didn't do the habit today. It's like, sure, it's an awesome thing, like just to have some kind of like overall calendar for the habit. So just checking off the habit on like the certain days of the month. That's certainly awesome. It really gives you some motivation. Of course, we'll talk about habit trackers in just a bit, but really, we kind of just want to be understanding that we don't want to focus on the streak, but rather we want to focus on the habit itself, and specifically actually just doing the habit every single day. So a whole lot of the days you'll cope around. You'll just like You just be like, okay, I have to do this today. I'll like, okay, I won't do it now. I can do it now. I just don't want to do it now because I want to do it later. Because later is better. I feel more comfortable to do it later. And so you listen to that. You're like, okay, well, we'll just do it later. Then you end up not actually doing the habit, which leaves a blank in your fucking habit tracker. So I've been talking about habit trackers all over the place. And the simple truth is, the third fundamental is, you need some kind of habit tracker. And specifically, it needs to kind of be, okay, like, very minimalistic. So you can very well just install one of those like apps of, okay, like the habit tracker app and whatever. Issue is, first, they're gonna restrict you on the number of habits you can actually like do or like add into the app. And second, it's just gonna be too dopaminergic. Like it's basically gonna be like scrolling through Instagram, but it's like, oh yeah, like the fucking explosion in your face, like, oh wow, dopamine. It's like, I don't see the point. You can have a digital like habit tracker that's much simpler than this. I use like my habit tracker. I use one on Notion. I specifically like just made it myself, just kind of like a Notion database thing. Of course, like I mean, it has some weird like you have to connect it to some weird shit like make thing. I'll maybe I'll like put you the video like somewhere up here or maybe in the description. Basically, just like the video that I learned like how to do this habit tracker thing from. I think he also gives like a free template. I'll also place mine in the description if you want to like copy mine. And basically, it's just literally like a habit tracker. And of course, like in your habit tracker, you kind of have to like put different types. I mean, of course, yeah, you can duplicate mine and basically go to that video that either popped up there in the description, and basically just literally like just go there, and after this video finishes, watch it and specifically learn, okay, like you have to connect this other software called Make, and you basically just connect it. You do the steps with the guy. You ask like just weird like it's like weird coding shit. Just he gives you all the resources. Just do it. It takes like what, like 20 minutes. And you basically end up having a habit tracker for life, which is awesome. It's free. It's not dopaminergic, and it's basically like one of the best habit trackers you can use. And so yeah, I mean that's definitely awesome. And you can also just like do a physical one, just like literally like every month, grab a piece of paper, really big one, and just like write down the habits that you have to do on top, and then on the side just write down like the days of the month, and then just basically like make the lines and shit, just all that type of crap, and basically just okay, like check the habits for each and every single day. And I mean, I guess it has its own obsessiveness. It's certainly like a really like good thing if you really want to focus on habits. I just think you can have a digital one because mostly like you're focusing on your phone most of the day. You can also have like your wallpaper. You can like set it as like just text that says check your habit tracker, and then you'd basically just read, okay, check your habit tracker. Oh wait, yeah, I should probably check my habit tracker. Something like that. Just kind of visual reminders. And finally, fundamental, I probably just have to fucking spit out there. The best book you can read about this, the single best book you can read about about breaking habits and about building habits, Atomic Habits. There is no like better book about this. You can very well just download a PDF on it, like just the PDF of like Atomic Habits. You'll find a lot of PDFs because this book's pretty famous. You could also just buy it on Kindle or buy a physical like edition. You could find that in any like bookstore around. It's a very popular book. And yeah, just read that book. Definitely a book that will help you build habits. Certainly has for me. But really, I think it's a key thing that you have to keep in mind when going about this is just you have to be doing your own learning on this. And of course, I like when I'm going on about this video, I'm mostly just gonna be spitting out, okay, like habits. Like how would you categorize habits and stuff like that. I'm not really focusing on how you build the habit itself. But honestly, like, I mean, how do you build a habit? You tell me, how do you build a habit? You do it every single day for the rest of your life. That's it. That's basically how it is. How do you do a habit? You just say, okay, I'll do this today and tomorrow and after that and after that and after that. And I'll do it every single day from those days. Sweet, that's it. That's all I need to do. Like, how, like, you just really need to focus on the habit and see, like, okay, I'll just do this habit, I'll focus on it, and I'll do it every single day. And that's really how you build a habit. It's just as simple as that. So for this section, I kind of just want to get into specifically the basic habits. So these are the types of habits that everyone will talk about on the internet. The like basic, okay, like you need to be having like a fixed sleep schedule, you need to be having a good diet and all this stuff. And it's like they're just the basic habits that like par for the average human being, just actually having those habits in track and on a good place. And so we'll just get into this already. Sleep. Sleep's easily like one of those basic habits that basically like you already sleep. It's just there's a better way to be sleeping. There's a more productive way to be sleeping. Of course, sleep duration, like 8 to 10 hours if you're a teen. More so goes on the lower end. Like you'll more so need 8, maybe like 7 to 9 hours if you're an adult. And really, I think this is just like kind of key understanding of sleep. But also you've got some fundamentals about sleep, which is really just okay, you need to be having a fixed sleep schedule. You need to be like actually having okay, this is exactly when I'm going to be waking up. This is exactly when I'm going to be sleeping. And just following that on a strict basis. There is no like, okay, we'll just take off the weekends. If you have this strict focus and just a strict, okay, I'm going to be sleeping at this time and waking up at this time, there is no messing up. There is no like just fucking around. And like imagine the type of discipline you build out of that. Also, of course, like sunlight exposure, definitely like something everyone needs to be getting. Of course, like in our age, we don't really like go outside, mainly because we've got our houses and stuff like that. We just don't think it's important. When in reality, our brains rely on it to be able to realize if it's day or night, to be able to realize if I should be sleeping or not. And that's like the big fucking shit that's just happening to us, is that our brains are lost, like our bodies are lost. We like our brains and bodies don't even know what they don't even know the time. It's like, bro, like your brain knows what time it is by stepping outside. Sure, you know what time it is. Your brain doesn't really know. And so it needs to go outside and see the sun. And so, I mean, of course, like sunlight exposure like has to happen. Basically, right, like as soon as you wake up, you go outside. If you wake up before sunrise, then basically you would just flip on as much light as possible, and then as soon as like any bit of the sun is out, you just go outside immediately. And you basically just stay there for like 10 minutes, and then also in the afternoon as sunset hits, like as soon as sunset starts to like the sun starts hitting, you just basically go outside and you start watching the sunset. As soon as the sunset's over, you can go back inside. That's basically like the two key like sunlight exposure sessions you'd need to be having on a daily basis. And I mean, of course, like I'm already spitting at you some habits, but honestly, these are some habits to get your basic habits under control. And really, I mean, I'll be talking about all these just a bit more later, but really the key about all these is that they'll help you improve all these areas, not just simply to just okay, like I'm just gonna be improving fitness, but it's more so literally to improve all areas because like I'll just tell you about this right now. When you improve your fitness, you improve your health, you improve your business because you improved your health, and then it all just compounds. Or let's just give another example. You improved your relationships, and in a weird way that improves your health and improves your mental health. And in a weird way, that makes you better at business. It's like all of the results compound and they help each other. It's like they're dominoes. Like you flick one domino and all the dominoes fall. And that's just how it is. Everything falls in place when doing the right things. If you're interested to learn more about sleep, I've got a morning chat specifically on it. So not really that long of a morning chat, just really focusing on okay, like it's all just sleep. Like how do you fix your sleep, fix sleep schedules, like sleep duration, whatever, and just basically all on just focusing on sleep. You can check that morning chat out. So now for diets. You see, diet, of course, like you need to be having a good diet and stuff like that. Issue is, people don't explain to you what a good diet is. You're supposed to just assume, okay, so I need to be eating like plants, a lot of plants. Oh yeah, no fat, just lower your fat intake. Oh yeah, like don't eat meat too much because red meat's really bad for you. Oh yeah, and just really eat a lot of fruits. Eat a lot of fruits. Like honey's really good for you and all this stuff. Issue is, we're not really given a good diet. We don't know what a good diet is. So it's about time you actually know, okay? I'm just gonna be giving you the best diet and then like some other alternative diets. The best diet you can follow is carnivore. What's carnivore? You only eat meat. It's gonna sound ridiculous. You're gonna literally start fucking like spamming the comments with hate. That's the best diet. You can research, you can see why I'm saying this. You can hear from the Dr. Anthony Chaffee. Guy talks about basically just why humans are carnivores and why we aren't supposed to be eating plants and why plants are literally the cause of cancer, cause of the biggest fucking diseases you can think of, diabetes, and really like the way to escape it, which is simply to eat meat. Just meat. Eat a lot of like fatty meat. Eat them fats, like a whole bunch of fat, a whole bunch of meat. You can cook it in some butter. He talks about like carnivore stuff. I'll leave that more so to Anthony Chaffee. You'll discover that like when you go to his channel. But of course, issue with carnivore is it's way too expensive, and a lot of people can't actually afford carnivore. And so, what is an alternative to it? Well, you got keto, which you add in just a bit more ingredients. So you're allowed to eat plants. Of course, plants are fucked up. And honestly, I would never put a plant in my mouth. But it's like, you have to kind of like, you just have to fucking like eat that stuff. Okay, you can allow yourself to eat more so on a keto, so you can eat some pistachio and whatever and some fucking weird bullshit. You could also go more so on like low carb, I mean, like keto is just really just low carb. Of course, I guess carb is like, it's kind of the thing that has a lot of effect, like right now. Like if you go on keto, you'll realize that like the carb, like the carb grain brain type thing, it's like it basically goes away. Issue is like keto kind of already like has plants which already like fuck up a whole bunch of different shit. Like I'll just leave that to Anthony Chaffee, honestly. Like you just check out Anthony Chaffee if you want to learn more about the best diet. And I mean, if you're really on a big like just you cannot afford any of that stuff, then I mean the best diet you can follow is really just removing the simple like carbs. Just remove the sugar, remove the fucking bullshit. You'd be better than 90% of the population doing that, in a sense. Of course, like the guys who are on carnivore will still fucking destroy you, but it's like, if you're really on a budget, you really have to, sure, do that. And of course, I mean, currently what I'm doing, I'm more so doing a restriction diet. Of course, I'm doing this because my parents are just all over the place. They're telling me that they don't got money to spend on the meats and stuff like that. And it's really problematic. And of course, I already said this, like carnivore is really fucking expensive. And so I'm more so on, like I'm kind of just pseudo carnivore. I've allowed myself a bit more of ingredients just so I'll kind of fill in, just so that like I'll actually like not make them spend as much money. And I think like, unfortunately, this is just something like some burden we have to deal with as young guys who aren't really like on their feet yet. And of course, exercise. So for exercise, it's really just about doing any kind of exercise you don't already do. Like if you already go to the gym 6 times a week, okay, sweet, just add in 1 session of cardio. Okay, you don't go to the gym at all, okay, just start going to the gym 6 times a week. Okay, well, you do a whole bunch of cardio and you do a whole bunch of weightlifting. Okay, why don't we add in a HIIT session? Why don't we add in a zone 2, which is basically just you really like walking very kind of slowly. It's not really slow, it's just basically you can research this, like hear from Andrew Huberman, a doctor that talks about this. Basically just write like on just the search engine on YouTube after you're done with this video, Andrew Huberman Zone 2 cardio, and just hear out his advice on it. Definitely some awesome stuff. Of course, you've got to be reading something. You see, reading is definitely one of those habits that everyone needs to be getting into. For me, I don't even consider reading to really like be a habit. It's more so just something that I unconsciously do. Like, so I go to the kitchen and I eat. It's kind of the exact same thing. I just go to a book, I grab it and I start reading. It's almost like a normal thing to me these days. But of course, a lot of people struggle with it. They haven't really built this habit. They haven't really ever touched a book, and so they're it feels quite weird to them. And so really like definitely get into like reading. I'll just list off some good books. You've got How to Influence and Influence People. You've got Eat That Frog. You've got Mastery by Robert Greene. You've got The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. Basically any book by Robert Greene is a really good book you can read. You've got Indistractable, and you've also got The 4 Hour Work Week. Definitely some awesome books. These are just some starters you can just jump right into. They're definitely some really awesome books. Also, for me, I'm just gonna be totally honest. I consider books almost like YouTube videos. Me and you, we watch YouTube videos just fine, like it's unconscious. And so it's like, it's almost weird to like not be reading, at least for me, I'm just like, yeah, I watch podcasts, I read, it's like, they're the exact same like thing. I think a great mindset to have on reading is, if you don't like a book, then just don't continue. If you don't like a YouTube video, you won't continue on that YouTube video. You'll just leave, you'll exit. Think of the exact same thing as a book. If you don't really like a book, or you only want a specific part in that book, you're really excited for chapter 3, but you have to read through chapter 1 and 2. It's like, fuck chapter 1 and 2, just read 3 already. Unless it's like, that those ones are valuable, you're just not really like that excited for them, then that's a different case. But for the majority of the time, people just force themselves to read something they're not interested in. And the simple truth is, you need to be like actually realizing, okay, you probably will be getting a whole lot more benefit from what you're reading if you actually enjoyed it. And so just treat books like YouTube videos. Like, if you're not interested in a YouTube video, you'll just quit. And so just, if you're not interested in a book, you don't want to continue reading, then just don't. And of course, I already talked about this, but watching educational content. See, a lot of guys make a lot of educational content. I'm certainly one of those people. You're watching this right now. You've got a lot of other people like me who I watch personally myself as well, and I recommend that you watch just because they've really helped me out. So I'll just list off some names. Of course, you've got me. You can very well just watch me. You've also got Hamza Ahmed. You've got Alex Mosey. You've got First Man. You've got The Diary of a CEO. You've got Andrew Huberman. You've got Chris Williamson. You've also got Anthony Chafee. These are some really good doctors and professors and a whole bunch of just awesome dudes, businessmen, and really they're just some awesome dudes that I listen to. And I definitely recommend that you listen to them. Just awesome fucking dudes, guys who genuinely like I listen to myself. So for this section of the video, I kind of just want to talk about first why you need a morning routine and an evening routine, and how you would exactly choose which habits go in which category, like morning or evening. And so first, let's just get right into it. Why do I think you need a morning and evening routine? See, these like routines, I almost like to think of as just habit bouts. You see, if you just simply said that, okay, I'll do my habit any time in the day, chances are you'll just keep delaying it till you don't even do it. And so what I found is a better way for us to actually go about this is, okay, we'll set some bouts throughout the day, like 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening, and that's when we'll be spreading our habits. And that's really like the almost like the windows to do those habits. And so when you've got a morning and evening routine, it's almost like you just know, okay, like 8 a.m., I'm immediately going to be getting up and I'm going to be meditating. At 8:30, I'm going to be doing this and that. It's almost just, okay, like my morning routine is at 8 a.m. and I'll have an alarm set for that. And as soon as that alarm rings, I leave everything in front of me and I just go and do the habits that I need to be doing. Same goes for the evening routine. At 6 p.m., you're like, evening routine. And the alarm rings and you just leave everything in front of you and you just do the habits that you have to. And then, of course, you go back to it if you want to. And really, like, the time that you place these is completely up to you. So I mean, for me, I place my morning routine right after my Eat That Frog. It's like you can read that book, but basically, Eat That Frog is really just like my session of doing the hardest task is the first thing. I just wake up and I immediately start doing the hard task, and then I just more so like do my morning routine. I go to school and I leave and I do all those other stuff. And then, of course, my evening routine I do dead before I sleep. So right before I sleep, it's just all like a big block of okay, evening routine, and basically mine starts about six p.m. I just start doing my habits. I sleep at about like 8 p.m. and then I basically just wake up at 3, my usual. So how do you actually build these things? How do you choose which habits go in which place? So for this, I've kind of just made a quick framework, which is what I called SCC, selection, categorization, and commitment. So for selection, you simply just select the habits that you need to be doing. So for your season, you've got certain habits that you would want to be doing that will actually give you a whole bunch of progress, and you've got some that aren't really like that fucking helpful. And so you choose which habits you're going to be doing. So for example, you'd be doing mindfulness meditation because mindfulness meditation like it helps you focus, and it's really like a powerful thing and helps you be mindful, and you really need that. And so, okay, 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation, that's always going to be there. Okay, well, what do I require for my season? I'm focusing on business. Okay, why don't we start doing visual target focus? So I'll just basically place a target in front of me and I'll just start looking at it like this. Okay, sweet. Awesome. Like this will help me focus. Okay, we'll just go on about it. Of course, like I want to be maintaining my health and I want to be maintaining my sleep. It's probably a good idea to be doing sunlight exposure. It's like just adding in the habits you require for your season. And then you simply categorize them. So for categorization, it's really just all about, okay, are those better off to be done like first thing in the day or later on in the day? So for example, what is better for meditation? Like, when should meditation be done? Would it be best for it to be done right off in the morning and its effects will last on me throughout the day? Or would I be better off doing it more so later because, well, I'll be sleeping better? Like, think of it as, okay, like what would benefit me the most? And so that's really like what you would be going into and trying to really maximize that. And so for example, I mean, for some habits, you can't really alter that. So for morning sunlight exposure, it's just morning. You can't really have the evening option. For evening sunlight exposure, it's like evening sunlight exposure. But when it's just for other habits that you can just place around the clock, then it's more so just up to you to choose. And so that would be another like journaling topic for you to just sit down and okay, like for the habits that I've chosen, like what would be better off for them? Would it be better off to be in my morning routine or my evening routine? And of course then for commitment, it's just simply doing it. Like if you set out everything and you're like, okay, like I just selected my habits and stuff, sweet. But it's like, you're gonna still have to do it. You're still gonna have to commit yourself to actually doing it. And that's really just the big thing. Like all these are just mechanisms and strategies to help you do it more efficiently. But if you're not doing it anyway, if you don't got the mindset to do it, then at that point it's like it's pointless. So now for some key habits that have seriously changed my life. I'm just gonna jump right into it. The first habit is just morning pages. See, morning pages is when you basically, I mean, I don't really do it as morning pages, but it's basically the act of planning your day ahead. Whether that be you do it the way I do it, which is I plan it one day before. So it's in my evening routine. I basically do it one day before. So as I'm sat there and I'm just planning like tomorrow ahead, I'm basically just doing this kind of morning page thing where I'm writing down, okay, like basically I want to like probably hit my like Eat That Frog task, and then I'll basically, okay, I'll do my morning routine and then I'll go to school, I'll leave, I'll probably like edit the videos that I've recorded, okay, nice and sweet, then I'll probably just upload them, like that type of stuff, And really I think it's just all about you figuring out, okay, like this is exactly what I'm gonna be doing step by step and setting that onto yourself. Of Of course, you don't want to be like stuffing in way too much shit. Like, obviously, be logical. Don't just like I'm just gonna be doing everything that I like need to be doing. Like that's way too much. Try to be logical. Try to think, think it through, and really just be like, okay, could I physically do this with comfort and with ease? If it's like an okay, then nice and sweet. If it isn't, then you probably need to revise it, minimize some stuff in there, and actually make it more logical. Of course, it's called morning pages because you're supposed to do it in the morning. You're supposed to just wake up and plan. Issue with that is, well, I mean, why don't I just plan it one day ahead and I just jump straight into it? You know, like it's just like, why should I just sit here like first like 10 minutes of my day and I just oh yeah like let me just plan my day? It's like, bro, like just do it one day before. Set them like boom, that's it. Like so hard, right? It's like the next habit, morning walks. So you see, Andrew Huberman talks about how you should be like as soon as you wake up, you should try to always look for walking. And basically he says walk for then like the first 10 minutes, doesn't have to be some high speed. Just simply walk the first like while you wake up. So the first 10 minutes, as soon as you wake up, try to find some kind of treadmill, preferably outside, but if you can't, then just walk, you know, like just have some kind of morning walk for 10 minutes. I didn't really, yeah, I mean, I probably should say this. The first while I went on self improvement, I basically started doing that habit, and it was really just life changing. I would just record these snaps to my friends, and I would literally just record myself at like fucking what 5 a.m. and I'd just like be walking, and I just record like my feet walking on the treadmill. It was a pretty funny like thing. Of course, I deleted Snapchat and all that stuff. But it was certainly like those starter self-improvement stages that certainly do hit. Of course, we talked about morning sunlight exposure. Basically just doing morning sunlight exposure and evening sunlight exposure. Evening sunlight exposure, you could get up to 20 minutes. For morning sunlight exposure, you could get up to 20 minutes as well. So it's really just a range of 10 to 20 minutes per like bout, and you'd be having two bouts, one for the evening and one for the morning. Really, like, I mean, the benefits of this is you actually like make your body understand your environment, and also like it's just fixing up your sleep, because if you don't know this, you basically got a clock like on the roof of your mouth. You've got like a clock, and it basically is like it's basically just like makes your body understand that okay, like this is the time right now. And that clock doesn't really understand what time it is, but by the sun. So you can know, you could like try to force your brain, oh, bro, it's literally like it's 3:30 a.m. right now, and your brain wouldn't understand because it hasn't seen the light outside. It needs to go outside in order to see that stuff. And so just do that. Do morning sunlight exposure and sunset or evening sunlight exposure. And I think these are like really fucking fundamentals. Like, I mean, even if like your season is whatever, you still want to be sleeping and waking up on whatever time suits you best. And so it's like I wouldn't see the point of not doing this habit. Like even if whatever your season was, I'd still be doing this. Same goes for the first one, morning pages, really. Of course, morning walks, if you're really optimizing for health, sure. If you're not, then you probably wouldn't really care so much. Now, the next habit is reading The Alchemy of Self. So basically, this is just a document that you almost like force feed your brain, almost like an affirmation. And it's basically just, it really helps. It's basically just changes your identity slowly. So you slowly start perceiving yourself as something else, like whatever you really like place in your alchemy of self. And so basically I'll just like, I'll probably like place this on the screen right now. Just basically a picture of like my alchemy of self. It's basically just like a paper. It has like a whole bunch of words written on there. You can certainly take some inspiration from it. I'll probably just like, I don't know, I'll place some kind of like alchemy of self example like in the description, and you can just kind of like edit it. Of course, like don't just copy mine, like have your own like actual genuine goals on there. Don't have my goals. Have your own like genuine like desires, not just what I've written. Of course, you can definitely take some inspiration, keep some of those, because of course a lot of those actually apply to a lot of us. It's just really try to add in your own taste. Of course, with the remember and all the pictures, you could very well just change them and stuff like that. I'll just leave it in the description. You can very well copy it to your own Notion and just work with that. And really, once you make your own alchemy of self, you simply just commit to yourself to really read that alchemy of self. So basically, just you go like out to your morning sunlight exposure. That's what I do. I just basically go out to my morning sunlight exposure, and I read it as I'm like just in my morning sunlight exposure. You don't have to be looking at the sun directly, like by the way, just to actually get your morning sunlight exposure. You can very well just look at your phone, read your alchemy of self, or you can also just like gratitude journal. So I do this a lot. I basically just get my gratitude journal. I'll talk about this in just a bit, but basically just a book, okay, journal thing. I just basically start writing like gratitude journaling. I'll talk about this, okay? And yeah, I basically just couple these with the main thing, which is just morning sunlight exposure. But yeah, I mean, I just sit outside, I read my alchemy of self, and I do that stuff. That's basically like my morning routine. Now for journaling. We've talked about journaling so damn much. Just all over the place, journaling, journal this, journal that, just do this, do that. Journaling's fucking awesome. Like, I wouldn't see a season in my life where I wouldn't be journaling. Because journaling, like, bro, I mean, you are literally just emptying your mind off of just fluff. Like, it's like, imagine like your laptop, but your laptop gets loaded with a whole bunch of files, and you have to just keep deleting those files. Imagine if you didn't delete those files and it kept compiling and compiling. Your results in business would fucking just go to the ground because your brain can't even function because you've got so much fluff in your head. And so that's why journaling is just so key, like so much of a key. And more than anything, it just helps you to actually know, okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is who I am, this is who I am not. And it really faces you towards a better living. And so journaling is just simply just getting a notebook, like a journal notebook, and simply just like writing down questions, trying to get like the thoughts that you want to get out into the paper. And that's what really like just activates your brain so much and actually like makes journaling so enjoyable and so much just a thing that gets you so much results. The next habit, gratitude journaling. So, I mean, I just talked about this. Gratitude journaling is basically, you basically get a gratitude journal. You can also do this on digital. I just don't really like doing it on a digital thing. And so basically what I do is I get like my gratitude journal and I sit outside. I mean, I usually do this outside. You can very well just do this on the inside. It's completely fine. Simply just sit here and ask yourself this question. What am I grateful for today? And of course, just like, don't write everything like that. Like, it's like, be more so specific and try to not repeat stuff that you've written before. So, I mean, if you're like, the first thing you've written in your gratitude journal is like, my mother, don't write your mother again. Just, okay, like, just don't write my mother and focus on, okay, like, just what is something new that I'm grateful for today? And simply just keep progressing your like gratitude journal. You'll find that it'll be quite difficult to actually add in new stuff because you can't think of anything. It's like what am I supposed to be grateful for? And really, like, you're grateful for everything, but you kind of want to express your gratitude towards even the smallest of things and like the biggest of things. So for the next habit, it's really just doing some kind of breath work. I'll suggest you a few that really do help. So there's basically just an episode that Andrew Huberman did. I'll like place it somewhere above here, but he basically talks about how breath work is literally like it's something that you cannot get the same results from anything else. It's something that's pretty like weird, intense, and just like, I mean, it's literally your breathing. You rely on your breathing to live. It's just wild. And so I'll just list you some really good like breath work type things. I mean, breath work, if you don't know what breath work is, it's just simply you doing some kind of breathing exercises. It's not really like breathing exercises like holding your breath. It's more so just some other types of like weird patterns of breath that you have to do. So the first breath work thing that I would recommend to you is the Wim Hof method. So I'll probably place this somewhere around here. You can basically just like see a video, and I'll basically like show you this guy just doing the Wim Hof method. And it's basically you just hyperventilating. You're doing like just basically breathing really intensely. You'll feel really warm. You'll feel really like it's almost hard to do anything. But this type of breath work is amazing. It has some extremely good benefits. You've also got box breathing. So box breathing is simply like almost like a repetitive pattern. And it's basically just like, okay, like breathe in, hold, exhale, like hold type of thing. So it's like, it would basically just go like this. Something like that. It just be like almost like this repetitive thing. Of course, it wasn't accurate because there isn't really like a timer. I'll just like, there's a video that'll pop up here basically, and it's just like a guided, like it'll just basically show you, okay, breathe in, hold, like exhale and hold. And it's like basically just like a guided thing I use. Use that one, definitely like a really like good box breathing thing. And that's the one I personally use. And also, physiological sighs. So these are basically known to be, they're literally like the fastest and most efficient protocol to decrease stress. So basically you're like super fucking like stressed, you're about to step on stage, try one of these, and basically like a physiological sigh would go like this. Basically just really like full on inhale, like full filling up the lungs, and then sneaking in just a bit more air, like a tiny snatch of air, and then fully exhaling and exhaling slowly. And this is literally like, this is so fucking efficient. Like, you cannot imagine this. You like, I'd be doing a presentation just before I step into like the fucking classroom. I could just do like 2 of these. I step in. It's like, fuck man, like, you'd have so much fucking stress. You'd be shaking. In about 4 seconds, you'd almost just be normal. It's like, so fucking weird. Like, this is just so fucking efficient. You'd be wise to implement this in your day-to-day life. It's just so fucking awesome. So our next habit is meditation. And just before I jump into the whole different types of meditations, I kind of just want to explain this concept of interoception versus exteroception. So there are 2 types of like visual inputs or like stuff like that. And basically it's either you focus, or like types of focus, it's either you focus inward, interoception, or you focus outward, exteroception. And basically, exteroception is basically everything outside the borders of your body. So everything that is like outside of you, that's basically exteroception. And anything that is like basically around you and onto you, yeah, that's interoception. And so focusing deep inside of yourself, that's interoception. Focusing on your breath, that's interoception. Focusing on your heartbeats, that's interoception. Focusing on your thoughts, that's interoception. And then focusing outward, focusing on nature, focusing on like just looking at like the farthest point away, that's exteroception. Like walking meditation, that's exteroception. You're looking outward. And so this is just kind of a key thing to understand about meditations. Meditations, you've got exteroceptive meditations and interoceptive meditations. And basically, like, each one benefits a different thing that you'll be getting out of it. So I'll just jump into the best meditation you can ever do, which is mindfulness. Mindfulness meditation. Easily the best meditation you could fucking do. Like, I've talked about this so much on my fucking channel. It's like, fuck man, like, why don't all of these people just do this? It's like, you literally, like, okay, so let me just explain what you do. You simply just sit down. You could literally like do this for like 5 minutes. It's not even that long. You could literally like do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you want, right? And just sit down and close your eyes. And you just focus on your breath. Just focus on inhaling and exhaling. inhaling and exhaling. And then you'll realize that you got lost. You weren't really focusing on your breath. You kind of got lost. And all you'll do then is just refocus on your breath. It's so fucking easy. You could literally do this for 5 minutes a day. And it's like, fuck, bro. Like, why don't people just do this? It's so easy, takes 5 minutes, and it makes you extremely. At first, it fixes your mental health because literally, like, the easiest thing you would do for your mental health is literally just being more aware. If you, like, imagine this. If I increased your focus by 20%, like, how much money would that be worth? That would be worth millions. If you told me right now, I would double your focus, bro, I would pay millions to get that. You know why? Because the simple truth is, a human's core power relies in their ability to focus, their ability to be mindful, and be present, to be right now. If you told me I'm doubling it, bro, I'm paying millions, bro. Just give me the fucking, like, focus energy. And what does meditation do? It fucking boosts focus, mental clarity, and it makes you be present in the moment. It doesn't make you think about the future or the past or whatever bullshit. You simply are present in the moment right now. And so that's really how you would do it. It's just, I have a full morning chat on this. You don't even need to watch that morning chat, but it's like, I literally have a morning chat just saying, bro, why are all these people not doing this? It's just the best thing can be doing. It's like, fuck, just do this, bro. Like, no matter what your season is, no matter if you're focused on relationships or health or fitness or fucking business, all of them need your focus. All of them need your brain power. All of them need you to be mentally happy. And if you don't got that, then you're just lost. You don't have your potential. Huberman talks about, like, this study that's called "A Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind." And basically, this study, like, states that literally, like, the mind, if someone is doing something, even if, like, to them they like it, but their mind wanders, they don't like it. And it's like, people who are focused and get into flow and who will stick to a task will tend to enjoy it and will be happier people. It's insane. Like, literally, if your mind doesn't wander, you're a happier person. That's basically, like, the conclusion of the study. It's like, bro, why would I, like, allow myself to have wandering mind just so I'll be unhappy? It's like, I don't see the point. And honestly, it's like the potential you gain from simply just enabling your focus. That's what really just gives you all the power. Also, you've got death meditation. And simply, death meditation is you visualizing someone's death. So you close your eyes and you visualize the death of, it could be yourself, it could be the closest friend of yours, it could be your mother. And really the core, like, meaning behind this meditation is it makes you more grateful for either you, because you exist right now, you haven't died, and makes you more grateful for the person that you visualized. So, like, if you visualized your mother, like, you would be more grateful that your mother is actually there, and you would be more, like, honestly, like, would you treat your mother in the same way? Like, would you scream at your mother and be like, why did you, like, cook me this thing, I don't eat that, if, like, you literally visualized her dying? It's like, no, you'd be hugging her, you'd be kissing her, you'd be, like, you'd just be all over the place. You'd just be like, bro, like, I love her so much and I'm so grateful for this. And I'll place you a guided death meditation, like, somewhere above here. But basically, like, he's just talking about, like, the guy. He's talking about basically like, just this death meditation. And he's, like, kind of giving this guided death meditation thing. And honestly, it's wild. It's like, it's truly life-changing. It makes you so grateful for everything you have. And it gives you just this ability and presence to be, like, to be able to realize that, okay, like, I might lose this at any moment. And I think this really gives us the vulnerability we need in order to actually be grateful. And finally, thought hours. So this is a type of meditation that I started doing recently. I made a morning chat on this. And basically, it's just, I couple this with my afternoon, or, like, evening sunlight exposure, and I basically just go up to the roof of my house. I place a plastic chair, and I just, as I'm staring at like the sunset, I just start letting my mind wander. And this is kind of just a more so, not really like getting my mind to wander as in a bad thing, like as I'm doing something, but it's more so like almost like I'm just like giving it an output zone. So you know how you would just sit there and you would just let everything just flow out of you? That's exactly what I'm doing here. You're sitting down there for an output zone, almost like journaling, but it's almost like a meditation in a sense because you're like looking at the world. Like I mean, I basically have like just do this quite frequently. I would sit at the roof of my house basically every single day, and as I'm taking my after like evening sunlight exposure, and I'm looking at the sunset, I'm just like thinking about life, just talking about shit. I learned this new thing, and I'm like super excited. I'm just talking to myself about it, and it's literally just an output zone. It's almost like you're having a conversation. You know how like you feel so relieved after a conversation? It's literally the exact same thing, but it's with yourself. Like it's 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 like the full on expression of self love. You can watch that morning chat if you're interested, like to expand like your knowledge on this. But honestly, it's fucking amazing, bro. Like this practice is truly fucking life changing. Now for the next habit, visualization. So visualization is you simply visualizing something. So of course, like for visualization, you can have like closed eye visualization. You can also have open eye visualization. And of course, like you can watch Huberman's episode on visualization, but basically what he's saying like in there is open eye visualization is better, of course. And also it's more so just kind of narrating the visualization. Like almost like you're like narrating a story, the exact same thing. So I mean, for me, what I do for my like goal, like okay, like let me just do this with you, okay? So basically, like goal visualization would go something like this: you just be staring like wherever, like just kind of staring. You just basically say, okay, or you could close your eyes if you want, but basically, you've been putting in the work, you've been grinding hard, you've been checking off the habit tracker, and you've been doing like your work, you've been putting in the efforts, you've been putting in the hours, you've been getting out of your comfortable bed at 3:30 a.m. just to do the work, and your mother opens the door rapidly at you and she tells you, we've literally reached 10K just this month. And you can see the look on her face, and you can clearly see that she's so happy, she's so grateful because you financially freed not just yourself, but you financially freed them as well. And you go outside to the living room and you see your father sitting there, and he looks at you so proudly because he knows that his son has exceeded him. He has developed a man. And you look to his right and you see your sibling, and they look at you so proudly, so gratefully, because they know that you've basically freed them from ever having to work a shit job. That's basically how like a goal visualization would go. Of course, this is more so like just my goal visualization about getting to 10K a month, but it's really just these types of like, okay, I'm visualizing this and I'm thinking about, okay, like this is exactly like what I would do, and this is like the ultimate like climax of all of it, and it just like gives you this feeling of, yes, I want to be getting that. Yeah, bro, let's go. Let's do put in the work, bro. Let's fucking grind, and it really just gives you that ultimate fucking feeling. The next habit, cold exposure. So for cold exposure, it's really just about you like going in the cold water, cold plunges. It doesn't matter. Simply just go in some kind of cold area. And really, I don't do this every single day. Some people go doing this every single day. For me at least, my parents won't allow me to go in the like shower more than once a week, probably because of financial issues. And also, it's really just mainly that cold exposure kind of gets its effect pretty well. So basically, what I do is I would, right before I shower, so I have to shower like once a week, the usual shit. So before I go in, I basically would just flip the water like fully to the cold, and I would basically just start warming myself up. So I'd like place it to the side, I place it to the coldest, and I basically just start like getting my arms under there, kind of just getting myself warmed up. And then I basically count to three. I do one, two, and I basically just turn it on myself, get the full on shock, and then I'm basically just shivering the fuck out. And then I basically count to three again, and I turn around and I get my back fully exposed to the cold. And then I basically just try to stay under the cold shower as much as possible. Usually lasting between maybe 30 seconds all the way till something like 2 or 3 minutes. That's usually the time it takes. And then I basically just turn it back to the hot and I take my shower. Usually just the usual shit for me. And really what this does is it almost gives you like this full on like, first it gives you the full on shock, because you're like, just the fucking like cold shock, and then it's like just a pure like feeling of, oh yes, I fucking dominated it, and like you're just like, I did it, I fucking disciplined myself to do it, and it's like you're just so happy. And the benefits are tremendous. You can like watch Huberman's episode on cold exposure. Tremendous benefits. Now, of course, the next one here is the self-care routine, and this one's more so about like health, like looks maxing, health type stuff. And it's basically just having some kind of self-care routine. Like zone of time where you specifically, okay, like you brush your teeth, you floss your teeth, you like take care of your skin, you have some kind of like skincare washing thing routine. You like just you shave your face, you shave your mustache and stuff like that for whatever reason you would like to do that. Or maybe like you shave like your head or something, like if you're bald or something. And it's really just about kind of having some kind of care routine for yourself. It could also just literally be like placing some cream on your hands and stuff like that. And really it's just about finding your own like thing. Just, okay, like what do you want in your own self-care routine? Simply adding that if you're more so into like the health stuff. Of course, everyone has to have some kind of self-care routine. Like you still have to brush your teeth in order to maintain oral health. Oral health is essential for literally like people die because they've literally got some fucking cavity thing. And so it's like, it's very dangerous stuff. You wouldn't be wanting to mess around with that shit. So definitely just like have at least some kind of oral like health routine thing. And of course, like the looks maxing stuff, if you're not into that, then sure, just don't fucking do that stuff. So the next habit is basically taking your supplements. So at least for me, I have to kind of just take some kind of supplements. I mean, it's not really like I have to, it's just like stuff that I tend to want to take, supplements. And so basically I have this like routine, some timing for my like supplements, and I basically just take my supplements. So I'll list off some supplements that I take. I take omega-3 fatty acid. I take creatine, I take protein powder, and I take some salt. And that's usually like all I really need. Of course, like, I mean, if you're on carnivore, you probably don't need to take any of this stuff. But of course, since you're like, I mean, at least for me, I'm doing some kind of like restriction diet. It's not exactly that I'm getting all these things met. And so I kind of have to just supplement with these things. Of course, definitely like, I mean, do your own research, pick out your own like supplements that you genuinely like deem important, and simply just take supplements that you want to be taking. And finally, doing some kind of prayer. You see, at least for me, the kind of spirituality and kind of just, praying for God, that's like something that I truly deem important. And so I thought to really just mention this for anyone who's religious. Like, you need to be remembering that, like, okay, like, sure, you need to be like praying, you need to be putting in the effort, you need to be doing the things that you have to be doing, like the prayers that you have to be doing. You should be doing those prayers, and you shouldn't like be delaying those things. You shouldn't be like just like almost just completely disregarding them. You need to be trying to improve your relationship to God and trying to really pray and do these things. Some really awesome stuff. And I mean, in my opinion, I'm really strict with these things. Probably because I'm just a strict religious person. And so, really, definitely, like, if you've been like slacking off on prayer, get back on it. Like, you cannot realize the importance of that for you. But I mean, honestly, like, having watched some kind of full guide like this, do you honestly need to like watch some kind of like weird fucking video about like the top 7 habits that got me to 10K a month? Oh yeah, like the 4 habits that millionaires do, like all these types of stuff. You basically have literal art, like a literal arsenal of just, okay, like a fuck ton of fucking habits, and you can literally like just research the benefits of any of these habits that you just feel like, okay, like what the fuck is this? I don't really like feel like this is like important to me. Research the fucking benefits of it. If you think that it isn't good for your season, think again, research it, actually just fucking like see it for yourself. And of course, research from actual like valuable resources. You can watch my full guide on learning, definitely a really awesome full guide. And also, definitely recommend that you watch like basically just like a morning chat I did on how to research. Certainly some stuff that will definitely help you out. But I kind of just want to take a little break from all this stuff and finish off this video by talking about my coaching. See, I'm doing basically free coaching calls, free private one-to-one coaching calls. And basically what I do in those coaching calls, like, you basically can claim your free coaching call right now. Like, it's completely free, you don't need nothing, just simply text me on my Instagram. And you tell me, okay, like, claim for the free one-to-one coaching call. And then we like simply, me and you will hop on, we'll discuss whatever problem or goal you want to reach. And simply I help you with your problem. And really why I'm doing this is, first I want to give you like ultimate value, because I think it's genuinely important to have some kind of experience from this. And also I want to gain some experience. I'm just looking out for this. And of course I'm a teacher. I'm teaching these things. I'm helping you out with stuff that I'm already experienced in. And so it'd be quite a shame if I didn't actually want to teach even more. And so that's exactly what I want to do. And so that's why I'm giving you this, because it's basically a win-win for both of us. I get to teach you about something that I'm interested in, and you get to just sit there and actually learn from a guy who's went through the same thing that you want to be getting. So if you want to claim your free coaching call, simply go to my Instagram, DM me, like claim for the free one-to-one coaching call, just send me, okay, like I want to claim the coaching call, and me and you will basically just discuss from there. But in any case, that's kind of what I want to go through. Definitely a really valuable full guide. Full guide you should be taking some intensive notes on. And I think this is really some of the things that would genuinely like change your life. These habits, they are just a big database of just, okay, like this is so fucking wild, you know? And honestly, all of these habits, all of these just tracking and doing all these things, that's what will push you to your success. But in any case, that's kind of what I want to go through. And so, I guess I'll see you in the next full guide.